Welcome to the best of the Geek Speak Show. Hey gang, how's it going? Welcome to the Geek Speak Show, the best of the Geek Speak Show. Hope you're all enjoying your 4th of July, whatever you're doing. Happy birthday, America. You don't look a day over 235. So for the best of show, we're not here obviously. We're out enjoying barbecue and the Amazing Spider-Man and everything else. Our reviews of the Amazing Spider-Man are up on our Facebook page. So if you want to know what we thought, go on up there and feel free to add your reactions, your reviews to what you thought of the Amazing Spider-Man. As for the show, it's a best of, like I said, which means it's just not the whole interviews, but just samples of some of the best interviews we've had on the show, from past seasons to current seasons. And then I'll tell you at the end what's happening next week. It's going to be a pretty big show because something kind of big is happening next week also. So let's kick it off first of all with just last week. A couple of interviews from just last week's show. I'm going to replay them right now because they are very relevant, especially to today. The first one is going to be from mightyville.com. Talk to Sommer K and Joe Kach, founders of mightyville.com. Go right now, or when you get a chance sometime today, or it'll be up. It's live now. mightyville.com just launched today. It is or it should be, I should say, your new destination for comic books. Everything comic books, interviews, exclusives, video, and giveaways. They're going to start off with a couple of good giveaways. They mentioned one during the interview, you'll hear it in a second, but a couple of new contests launching with the launch of mightyville.com. First is the Amazing Spider-Man contest. The prizes are a Spider-Man retro t-shirt, a signed Spider-Man Stuart Sager print, and a set of the Amazing Spider-Man mini-mates. So those of you who want some cool Amazing Spider-Man stuff, go to mightyville.com, enter the Amazing Spider-Man contest, and maybe you will be the proud owner of those things. Also, not AMC's, but Image's The Walking Dead. As it nears issue number 100, they also have a Walking Dead contest going on at mightyville.com. So if you enter that, you can win a Walking Dead t-shirt signed by series creator Robert Kirkman, and also The Walking Dead number 94, the Image Expo exclusive cover signed by Robert Kirkman. So either one of those, go on mightyville.com on their front page. It's all on there. Enter the contest as they launch. They go live right now. And here's mightyville.com, Sommer K and Joe Kach from last week telling you all about mightyville.com. mightyville.com will be launching officially on July 4th with the fireworks, the barbecue, all that stuff. mightyville.com is on our links page, but it's also on our front page. You can sign up for the newsletter right now. We got it, when was it? Last month or 3 weeks, whatever it was. It's been a long week. It felt like years. So it's on there. It's going to be a very special place for you comic book lovers. And I'm going to stop trying to tell you all about it because we do have the two people in charge of mightyville.com on the line with us.
We have experts.
Yes. Sommer K and Joe Kach. Hey guys, welcome to the Geek Speak Show.
Hey Henry. Hey Rachel and Ariel. How you doing?
Hey everybody.
Hello, we're doing great.
Yeah, so I'm gonna stop trying to explain what Mightyville is and let you guys do that. Go ahead, tell everybody what is mightyville.com.
Mightyville.com. It's our new site, and we're very excited to be launching on July 4th. It's a website for all you comics fans and comics nerds out there. We are gonna do some of the things that you'll see on some of the other sites. We're gonna have breaking news in the comics industry. We're gonna have interviews, reviews, and commentary. But we're also trying to do some things that are a little different than some of the sites you see out there. So we want to have more variety, more focus on what the fans are up to, what they're interested in, and make it more interactive and more fun, and really try to build the site towards being a community for fans.
Something we don't see a lot of, really. We're trying to make it more of a place to interact rather than just people kind of showing up, checking something out, and going about their day.
And by interaction, do you mean there's going to be obviously you're going to have forums? Most comic book websites have that, but what else is going to make it stand apart from the other websites, the comic book websites that are out there?
Well, we've got a lot of we try to do a lot of different aspects that we're not seeing a lot of other places. So we're trying to showcase smaller talent, possibly local talent. We've got sections like cool images that kind of highlight what other artists are doing out there, maybe things you're not seeing very often. And we're trying to get people engaged in discussing these new items that we're presenting. We're also going to be spending a lot of time outdoors with the fans, doing different things out there, interacting with people. For example, we've got the Amazing Spider-Man premiere coming up.
Yes, we do.
Yes, so we're very excited, of course.
In 3D.
In 3D, that's right.
In 3D,
we are
in
going
IMAX.
in 3D and IMAX.
But we're going to not just go see the movie and talk about it ourselves, but we want to go and talk to the fans who are in line waiting to see the movie and catch them on the way out and see what they thought of the movie. So we don't want it to just be our voices on the site. We want to make sure that we give other people the opportunity to speak and share their ideas about what's going on in comics.
So do you guys have like a favorite part of the site that when you were building it or putting it together, you were like, I have to have this. This is going to be the best thing about it?
Yeah, honestly, I felt that a few times as we were putting it together. I really like our cool images section. That kind of just popped up out of let's just throw some of the coolest images we see out there that people don't see a lot of. That was a lot of fun to build. Do you have a favorite part, Summer?
I like we have a full calendar of events, so we keep people in the know about what's going on for conventions across the country, what's going on with movies coming out. As I think you mentioned, we're going to be throwing our own events. So we had Nerds Night Out, our first one, and you can learn about that on the site, but we'll be having more of those in the future. And we also have a section of hot links to like what's going on in the online for comics, and so people can go to our page and immediately link to all kinds of other sites too, where they can find out much more of what's going on. So you can go to our site and learn, but you can go to a number of other sites through our page. And another of my favorite sections, of course, is that we're featuring the Geek Speak Show on our site too.
Woot woot!
Yeah,
I hear those guys are amazing.
they are.
Yeah, they're pretty cool.
And not in 3D.
It's a little bit in 3D, and I'm a big tech nerd also. So as we were putting together that section, which I think you guys are going to be pretty impressed with, just the little parts where I was like, ooh, look how this video can pop up over here, and look how this video can say this over here.
But wait, do we need the glasses?
You don't need the glasses yet, but hey, 3D or 4D is coming up down the road.
Beat that, James Cameron.
You could try it out with the glasses, though. That might be interesting.
Because, I love having weird focusing issues when I'm looking at a glowing screen. That's the best feeling ever.
Headaches after films are the best.
Really, I don't feel like I've gotten a full experience and really an immersive experience if I'm not walking out with a blinding headache.
Exactly. Another favorite part for me was actually being able to go to a lot of the local conventions, in order to generate some of the content that we're going to feature on our site, and meeting a lot of the fans and the creators out there. That was probably one of my favorite bits of putting it all together.
Yeah, I've been loving interviewing some of our favorite creators, and we will also have Lee from Lee Comics on there a few times as well, and it's just really fun to be able to chit-chat with people and geek out over comics, and then share that with the people that come to our site.
We've got a great interview with Tone Rodriguez, who is the artist on a lot of the Simpsons comics you guys are reading, from Bongo, Futurama, Shadowhawk, and Lady Robotica. He's a really great artist, great guy, a lot of fun to talk to. We got actually a live video of him drawing a really great Rocketeer sketch. Mm-hmm. And surrounding that, we're giving away a few signed prints by him to new members. The prints, I believe, were which ones, Summer?
Oh, Dexter, and for the Cowboy Bebop fans out there as well.
Yes.
Ooh.
Yeah, he's a really cool artist. He also shared with us, he's worked with a lot of celebrities on their comics, so Jane Weedlin and Tyrese Gibson, and kind of gave us the down low of what experience that was like. He's a very cool, honest guy, so it was fun to talk to him.
Fun antics, for sure.
Sounds like a fantastic interview to check out on the site. And it sounds like there are a lot of reasons for us to go and visit the site as people who are interested in comics. What I want to know is, what if I'm creating an independent comic, or I'm an independent artist. What can I do to get your guys' attention to get my stuff on your site?
Well,
Smoke signals.
Yeah. Like, do you take bribes in chocolate, or do you prefer pizza?
Pizza.
Chocolate.
Oh.
Chocolate pizza.
Chocolate pizza.
My bribes are action figures, just throwing it out there.
I was just about to say action figures.
There's a few ways actually. We're always going to be asking for input on the site, and so we'll have emails that address on the site, and you can just link directly to our email through the site. Also down the line, we're going to have a whole community section where people can have their own pages and post their own things on their profile page. So it's going to be a great way for people to link to their stuff, post their stuff on our site for everybody to be able to see. But even now, before the site's even launched, we've had some people hit us up on Twitter, so they can go to @Mightyville and tweet to us, and we've retweeted their requests and found some cool artists out there that are working on some cool stuff that we'll be sharing.
Yeah, I'll put this out there right now. If you are an up-and-coming creator trying to get yourself noticed or looking for work, just shoot us an email, which is contact@mightyville.com, and we will see what we can do about getting you featured pretty soon.
This sounds like an awesome hub. It's got everybody's involvement. We're looking for artists. We're looking for people who just want to hear what's going on. And honestly, I think one of the coolest part is those events that you're putting together, because I was a part of the Nerds Night Out, the first one. Yes, I can claim that. And
Yes.
We had a great time. Thank you
yes, we did. Well, and it's kind of nice because people are going to be able to look up those events and have somewhere to go to hang out, and it's not weird. It's not like where, it's a mixer, or it's not like a work event. You know what I mean? I'm a geek. I understand. I've accepted this. I love it. And let's find some cool stuff to do with other geeks in my area. And I really think it's a great idea.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's exactly what we were hoping for.
Yeah, and like the first one, we hosted and we kept it to our local area, but going down the line, we want to put the word out for people all across the country to host their events and feature it on the site. So it should be a good opportunity for people to meet other like-minded folks in their own area and have fun.
Thanks for that event. I just bought myself a new set of Ninja Turtles figures. So
Yes, I have been wanting to get myself an NES again because, I need to play that game more often.
Turns out there's emulators.
Yes.
Have you tried getting it for your Wii? Do they have it on there? Because, I'm playing Bubble Bobble like you wouldn't believe on that
See,
thing.
I have an emulator, and I do have some of the old Marios, but it's not the same. I need the old controller. I want the cartridge.
Do you need the,
Yes.
WASD just isn't quite the same.
I'm surprised how many memories came flooding back from replaying those games. So much fun.
We're talking to Sommer K Joe Kach, founders of MightyVille.com. Again, it's launching officially July 4th, so in between barbecues, fireworks, whatever you do on 4th of July, check out MightyVille.com. Now, like we were just talking right now, you guys really are geeks. You know comics, you know this stuff. What made you guys want to create Mightyville?
Honestly, it's a deep-seated love for comics. I cannot remember a time in my life where I haven't been into them. I've always dabbled in trying to create my own, and that's still an ongoing process. But I really just wanted to be involved more in the fan community because the industry and the fan base has changed a lot over the last couple of decades. I don't want it to stay stagnant. I think evolving is always great. Mm-hmm. So I want to be part of that change. I wanted to help, propagate changes to bring more attention to the medium, whether it's digital, whether it's print, whether it's on TV, whether it's in the movie screens. I just kind of want to be part of that movement, and that's what brought me to it.
Yeah, that was one of the other reasons why we wanted to build the site is that, there hasn't been a lot of platforms or space online for that community to connect with each other. Twitter is really great, and people have been doing a great job with blogs and posting their web comics, and that's all expanding. But as far as ways to sort of interact online, a lot of it's just been done through message boards, and that's a very kind of awkward way, I think, to communicate.
Yeah.
So
I agree, yeah.
So we want to give people more opportunity as we are, initially our website will just be, you can communicate through comments, and we'll be featuring people, but then we're building a whole social aspect that will allow people to chat live and to interact in a much more variety of ways.
Yeah, we want to give people a little taste of the content, dip their feet in the water, and then, in the next few months, we're going to be launching a second aspect to mightyville.com, which will be the social Mighty community.
Yeah.
Oh, that's going to be so great. And now, one of the things that you touched on is that places like message boards are really the only place that people have right now to interact, and Twitter and things like that. And it always feels to me like those sorts of things are really narrow in focus. And it does feel to me like it's harder for me to find somewhere where if I've got a really broad spectrum of interests and I just want to talk to people who like good storytelling that also involves ray guns, that it's hard for me to pinpoint. And it sounds like you guys are creating exactly that space.
Exactly what we need.
Just that thing to bring us all together. And because if I'm a fan of Doctor Who, I can also be a fan of Torchwood. Wait, no, that makes sense. I can also be a fan of anything else. Like, I can also like comic books and things like that.
That's really true, because even on larger social networks like Facebook or whatever, even if you're friends with some of your favorite creators and other fellow fans, it always gets lost in the jumble of people's mundane tasks throughout their day, or pictures of their children doing whatever.
So you guys are going to have something different, huh?
Definitely.
That's the plan, at least. So, again, it's mightyville.com, launching July 4th. And go on there. It's up on our link section. It's on our front page right there, front and center for you. Just click on it, sign up for the newsletter. Sommer, Joe, we wish you guys the best of luck. We are very proud to have you guys as part of our content providers. You're going to hear, all of you out there, you're going to hear from them a lot. They're going to be on here. You'll see them in some of our videos. You're going to be, I think, at our next video shoot that we do with Lee's, who we're going to talk to in just a few minutes.
Yep.
So we'll definitely hear from you guys a lot. And again, wish you nothing but the best with Mightyville.
Thank you so much.
Thanks a
We
lot,
love
Henry.
this Geek Speak Show.
And we love you too. So thanks a lot, and we will talk to you later. Sommer K and Joe Kach, founders of mightyville.com, from last week's show. Again, replaying it because it's relevant. They are live right now as we speak. If you get a chance to today, go ahead and visit mightyville.com. If not, go tomorrow when you wake up from your barbecue/fireworks hangover or whatever. Mightyville is live now, so they will be there whenever you want to visit. And let me also remind you again about the contest that they have going on with the launch, the Amazing Spider-Man contest. You can win a Spider-Man retro t-shirt, a Spider-Man signed print by Stuart Sager, and a set of the Amazing Spider-Man movie Mini-Mates. So those of you who want Amazing Spider-Man stuff, go on there. You might win that. The Walking Dead, as it nears issue number 100. They got a Walking Dead contest going on. The Walking Dead t-shirt signed by Robert Kirkman, and you can also get a copy of The Walking Dead number 94, the Image Expo exclusive cover, also signed by Robert Kirkman. So those two contests are going on right now at mightyville.com. Visit them and see if you can walk away with either The Walking Dead or some Spider-Man stuff. So now, the next interview I'm going to play for you is also from last week. This is with Lee Hester, owner of Lee's Comics, but 2 locations, San Mateo and Mountain View. This coming weekend, Saturday, July 7th, starting at 10 a.m., we're going to be there. They're celebrating the 30-year anniversary of Lee's Comics, and we will be filming our second episode of the Geek Speak video show at Lee's Comics in Mountain View. So here's Lee to tell you all about what's happening in the sale, and we talk a little bit about the video show. So here it is, Lee Hester from Lee's Comics on the Geek Speak Show. Saturday, July 7th at Lee's Comics in Mountain View. They're celebrating their 30-year anniversary, and on to start that celebration early is Lee. Hey, Lee, welcome to the Geek Speak Show.
Hello there, Henry, Rachel, and Ariel. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Very good. Great.
Yeah, getting all excited for the sale. So tell us what is going to happen at Lee's in Mountain View and San Mateo.
Okay, well, we're celebrating our 30th anniversary in business. We started in July 1982. So we have a bunch of big, huge blowouts we're going to be throwing on Saturday, July 7th. And first of all, it's going to be 30% off of all back issues. We're going to have tons of 30-cent comics, 20% off new comics and graphic novels. And we have a whole bunch of prizes that we're going to give to people that show up early, such as a Lee's Comics Frisbee. I love playing Frisbee, so I thought it'd be cool to have it, spinning around with the Lee's Comics logo on it. We could go out back if it's not too busy, because we have like our own parking lot in back, and there's there'd be plenty of room to play frisbee back there.
The 30 cents comics. What comics are going to be 30 cents exactly?
Okay, well, we have a selection of bargain material, and it dates all the way back to the 70s. It'll be like a lower grade stuff, but still fun to read. Like mainstream titles, Captain America, Spider-Man, X-Men, G.I. Joe, stuff like that. We're going to be putting a whole bunch of stuff out there. Stuff you won't believe will be just 30 cents, and that's going to be extremely popular. A lot of people are going to be pouring through that, filling in the gaps in their want list.
But like I've been saying, not Amazing Fantasy number 15, right?
No, that would be more than 30 cents.
That would be a lot of 30 cents.
Yeah, that would be a good gimmick, though. Throw it in there and see if they can find it. Even looking for regular 30-cent bargain books, it can be, you have to be pretty dedicated, because there's going to be a lot of people looking.
Yeah, so again, this is going to happen Saturday, July 7th, starting at 10 a.m., you said, Lee?
Correct. And I wanted to mention also at 11, we're going to have a drawing for $10, $30 Lee's Comics gift certificates at both stores. So, if you come early, you can also enter the drawing and hang out till at least 11. And then, of course, after that, we're going to be doing, over here in Mountain View, we're going to be doing the video show with you guys, which is very exciting.
Yes, we're going to do kind of like what we did with the pilot episode at Flying Colors. You and I are going to do a one-on-one talk about the store, your history, the comic book industry, and we're going to get the audience involved also. You guys can ask Lee anything you wanted to know about comics, about Lee, about... Now, when I say about Lee, it doesn't mean ask him his social security number or anything. You don't ask him that. You can ask him, like, what's his favorite comic, how does he see the business today, things like that.
My social security number is 1.
You're just that established.
You're just missing a few numbers.
Yeah.
I've been around a while.
So you've got a lot of knowledge that this is the opportunity for your customers to just really pick your brain and find out what is it that makes it tick? What is it that makes Lee's Comics such an amazing store?
Yeah, well, that's one of the fun things about these events is we just hang out and we schmooze and we joke around, and it's a lot of fun. It's just a tremendous amount of fun, and people just come and they get in on the excitement. So yeah, I really enjoy interacting with all the folks, and I have tremendous fun at these events.
And these kinds of things are what allow people to go to shops or places that they don't normally go to, and then all of a sudden, they find that diamond in the rough, or they find their new favorite place to go. So definitely something people want to be a part of.
Absolutely. If you haven't
Definitely,
been to Lee's Comics, it's a place to check out. This is a reason to go and see it if you've never been before.
Yes, we try to give them a reason to go, and we're hoping that if they check it out, they'll like what they see, and they'll visit us again. Yeah,
become regular Wednesday and every other day shopper, too.
Yeah, we've been known to deputize a customer or two in the past.
Yes, again, that's going to be happening Saturday, July 7th, starting at 10 o'clock. At both stores are going to start at 10, Lee?
That's correct.
Yeah, all the action is going to be happening with us, at least with the video show, at the Mountain View location. So be there. We're going to get there early also and watch you guys have fun with the 30 cents comics and the $30 gift certificates, all that stuff. Then we'll point the cameras on Lee and on all of you guys. You guys can be a part of that. We're also bringing, thanks to Joe Field, who created the Comic Slam from Flying Colors Comics. They had a lot of fun with that, so we're going to bring it to Lee's Comics also. And what the Comic Slam is actually, you explain it since you and Louise took part in that.
The Comic Slam is where you take a scene from one of your favorite comics or one of your favorite characters, and they've got their soliloquy, they've got their big long speech, and you dramatically act it out. So it's not just like sitting there and reading it, but you can bring props, or you can bring something that really like heightens the mood, and then you're going to act out that scene from the comic book. I think the duets worked really well, but that you can also bring somebody along, and then you can have like, some little back and forth banter, but bring your favorite bit, bring your favorite scene, come out and then read it for the audience and get your drama on.
If you want to dress up,
then... please dress up. I love costumes.
Yes.
And we also got to say, keep it family friendly.
Yeah, some of us need that reminder more than once.
Yeah, so that'll be happening, the Comic Slam. You guys have a lot of fun with that. And again, thanks to Joe Field for letting us bring it to Lee's Comics.
Yeah, so I would encourage people to pick out their favorite comics, start going over it, rehearsing it, and and bring it. That way you can immortalize yourself on film. Dare to be silly. This is no time for dignity. You got to get out there and give it your all. And and dare to be fanish. Have some fun. Don't be shy.
It's the age of the nerd. Bring it, yo.
There may be something special in it for you.
Oh, I think Henry's just hinting. That's dangerous.
Well, we're going to contribute some great prizes to people that participate in this as well. We got a whole store full of cool stuff, so it's not difficult to come up with some nice prizes. And definitely looking forward to seeing the results of the Comic Slam.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you guys want to see what that is, what that looks like, go on our YouTube page. It's up there, the one we did with Joe and Flying Colors and the Flying Colors Faithful for our pilot episode. They're all up there. And Lee, I was going to ask you a little bit about the store, but I'm gonna put that on pause until a couple of weeks from now when we actually do it for the one-on-one, so you guys get to not only hear but see Lee and myself talk about his history, the story history, comics, his adventures. He's met some of the big names and had them there in the store. So you'll hear all of that, and you guys can get involved also. Again, Saturday, July 7th, starting at 10 a.m. All this will happen in the Mountain View store, but it's happening. The 30-year sale is happening at both San Mateo and in Mountain View. So be there for that. So Lee, thanks for coming on, and we will see you in a couple of weeks.
Hey, thank you so much, Henry, Rachel, and Ariel.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So those of you that are going to go on Saturday, you might want to get there a little bit early because there are going to be some long lines to get at those 30-cent comics. I think Lee was just kidding. Tongue was planted firmly in cheek when he said that Amazing Fantasy number 15 might be in those 30-cent bins. But you never know. Go ahead and go look for it. Just be civilized if you do find it in there. Don't push and shove, or especially if it's a kid or some old lady. As for our video show, what we're going to do, kind of what we did with Joe Field at Flying Colors, I'm going to do a sit-down one-on-one with Lee Hester. We're going to talk about the history of Lee's comics, the comics book industry, and we're also going to have you guys come up to the microphone and ask Lee anything you want to know about the industry, about comic books, about his favorite comic books, anything you want to know about Lee, but we're afraid to ask. Don't be. Our cameras will be pointed at you, and you will be seen by a worldwide audience on the intranets. So again, that is happening this Saturday, July 7th, starting at 10 a.m. Don't forget, Joe Field has allowed us to bring his Comic Slam to Lee's Comics. So those of you who haven't experienced a Flying Colors Comic Slam, you get to try it out for the first time away from Flying Colors at Lee's Comics for the video shoot. What the Comic Slam is like you heard Ariel explain it, you simply pick your favorite comic book. Could it be a classic? Could it be something from today? And dramatically read it out loud on the microphone and on cameras, of course. And that's it. If you want to come in costume, hey, more power to you. We may have a prize, a special prize for the best one. That's all I'm going to say. So again, be there this Saturday, July 7th at Lee's Comics in Mountain View starting at 10 a.m. We'll see you there. Now, let's get to the best of part of the best of show. This first interview is from way back in season 1. Chloe Moretz came on to talk about Let Me In, the vampire movie she was in. It had just opened that day. We talked about it, of course, but what you're going to hear right now is first I asked her what are her upcoming projects, and she gave me an entire list of all the projects that were coming up. Not on that list that you're going to hear in a second was the Carrie movie, because she hadn't gotten it yet, or Dark Shadows, because I don't think she'd gotten that one either. But she did mention some movies that have happened, like the Academy Award-winning Hugo, and some that are coming up later this year or early next year. And of course, I had to ask her about Kick-Ass 2, and she answered, and she also shared her ideas on what she wants to see from Hit Girl in Kick-Ass 2. So here it is, Chloe Moretz from way back in season 1 on the best of the Geek Speak Show.
Yeah, you have been pretty lucky, actually, in your career. You have been working with some pretty big people, and you are, like you mentioned, we're going to work with some very, very big people, and directors especially, coming up. So why don't you preview what you can tell us of your future projects?
Well, right now I'm shooting a Martin Scorsese film called The Invention of Hugo Cabret. I also have a film called Hick with Derek Martini, based off the novel Hick. I also just booked Emily the Strange, which is very, very exciting, which is Rob Rieger's comic book, cool. It's a graphic novel type series that he created, and that's very exciting. And I also have a film called The Rut. After it's Karen Kusama is the director, and she's the same director as Jennifer's Body, which is really exciting. And I also, one more, I also have a film called The Fields with Amy Mann. It's Michael Mann's daughter, and it's her directorial debut. And I also, one more, okay, I also have a film called Devil in the Deep Blue Sea, which is produced by Jessica Alba. Jessica Biel, and it's it's a very exciting film.
This is from emails, and everybody here, we loved you as Hit Girl and Kick-Ass. Has anything been done on that front on Kick-Ass 2? We know Matthew's doing the X-Men movie, so he was a little busy, but has any progress been made on the sequel?
I hope. I mean, I don't know about Kick-Ass 2. I know there's a comic book out, and I haven't been approached, honestly, yet about anything yet, but, Matthew right now is shooting X-Men, so after that, maybe. I don't know. I haven't been told anything. They're keeping it under lockdown, even from the actors, so that's from my lips.
But you would definitely come back if they asked you to.
Oh, yeah. 100%. I get in that costume tomorrow and start training immediately.
Well, it is Halloween. You can't put it on pretty soon.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. What would you like to see if they asked you to come back? What would you like to see Hit Girl do in the second movie?
I'd like to see a more grown-up side to her, and see kind of her knowing what's wrong. But, of course, at some point, you have to see her, go crazy and be her Hit Girl self, definitely. But I made a kind of a contract with the writer, and she promised me a purple Ducati with Gatling guns for Hit Girl. So, I'm hoping.
You got everybody in the studio cheering on that one. They want to see it too.
Yeah, that'd be insane, right? With laser pointers and a whole gadget bar and stuff. Oh, that'd be crazy.
I'm not going to tell them. You tell them to let everybody know what's out there today.
Go see Let Me In today. Go see it right now. Go run as fast as you can and go see it. It's crazy. It's absolutely amazing. Or I'll bite you. All right, guys.
All right, Chloe. Thanks a lot.
Bye, guys. Thank you.
Okay, so that was Chloe Moretz talking about it. Let Me In had just come out that day, and she came on to talk about that movie. But we just started talking about her upcoming projects, and of course had to talk Kick-Ass 2, which hadn't gone into production at the time. As we know, it finally has gone into production, and the whole gang is returning. But it's just not Matthew Vaughn directing. It's somebody else. Can't remember who it is exactly right now, but you guys can look up on either geektyrant.com or collider.com, ramascreen.com. One of our content providers, they have the stories on there. So now we go to another young star, also from season 1, Ashley Bell. Her first starring role in the major motion picture, The Last Exorcism. I talked to her on release day also, and we talked first about how she got the role, what kind of research went into the role. Then I asked her a question about Heath Ledger, the Joker, and actors taking the roles a little too seriously, and she gave kind of an interesting answer. So here it is. Ashley Bell talking about The Last Exorcism from season 1 on the Best of the Geek Speak Show.
Let's get into the movie now. First of all, how did the process go? How did they pick you to be the possessee?
Well, I was just sent in for it by my agent, and it was odd. The second I read the character breakdown for Nell, I just fell in love with her. She's such a complex character, and getting a chance to play that has just been huge. For the callback, actually, they asked me to get exercised in the audition room. And I was sitting in a chair, and I asked to lay on the carpet, and there I was, laying in Lauren Bass's casting office, writhing around on the floor, having this man summon this thing out of me, contorting and screaming, and I just thought my parents would be so proud.
No, it wasn't done by a real priest, was it? It was an actor?
It was an actor, yes. But Oh my God, how cool would it have been if an actual priest would have done it? I bet Daniel would have been so into that.
Yeah, here I read an interview that's actually how he won his role. He actually, I think it was Daniel and Eli. They asked him to preach for them for the audition.
Yes. And I luckily was able to sit in on that was Patrick Fabian's audition, right?
Yeah.
The Reverend. he gave such an incredible audition. Literally, when he left the room, everyone looked at each other and was blown away. Being able to work with him has just been incredible.
Yeah, and once they knew you're the one, what kind of research did you do? Because I read on the bio that you actually got some actual footage from exorcisms from the Vatican. But what you find there?
I did, yeah. I lucked out and had about a month of time to prepare before going to film, and I have a tendency to get really obsessive about things, so I actually started researching during the audition, and I was sent some of the Vatican exorcism sermons and a lot of tapes, and it's creepy because you're hearing exorcisms and you hear screams and noises that you think can be made, and then there comes this sound that is just neither masculine or feminine or animal or human, and you just say, what is that? Is it feral? It's like not even that. It's otherworldly and
inhuman.
Inhuman, yeah, exactly. And I just wish I wasn't doing my research at 1 a.m. when my imagination was just at its peak. But yeah, I also I got a chance to go to some more extremist churches in the Deep Valley and talk to people who had been around actual exorcisms, and it was odd. They talking to them, I felt such fear in their eyes and just heard it in their voice. They didn't even want to tell me about the cases because they were almost scared it would come back. So it was fascinating. I felt like every turn there was always 10 more questions to be asked, and as soon as I found out one thing, a whole new story unfolded.
Let me go back to another big movie that came out a couple years ago, The Dark Knight. Heath Ledger's Oscar-winning performance afterwards, after what happened, a lot of people said that because of the way he portrayed the Joker, that it took him to a dark place. Did any of that happen to you while you were playing Nell?
It did not. I have such respect for that performance. Let me just say first off the bat, that was a huge performance. But luckily on this film, like I'd mentioned, the atmosphere Daniel created on set, I felt like since he made it so safe, it was easier to jump into every morning. I think if I took the character home at night, I would officially have to be booked into an insane asylum. So I did not take it home. I probably shouldn't say this, but it was fun. Filming a horror movie is so much fun, and I should look into that because I do play a heinously violent character, and should probably ask some questions about that. But about to myself. I fought so hard for the role, and the hard part, at least I feel for acting, is in between jobs. When you're working, it's like vacation. Getting a chance to go to work every day and do what you love and play, such a complex character is really a gift.
And we'll probably be hearing from Ashley Bell pretty soon because it's just been announced that The Last Exorcism 2 is going into production. And yes, Ashley Bell is returning. So she may return here to the Geek Speak Show to talk about The Last Exorcism 2 when that happens. So now let's go on with the best of Bob Gale, writer-producer of the Back to the Future trilogy, came on for Back to the Future Day. We were celebrating the 25th anniversary of Back to the Future. Came on, reminisced a little bit about Back to the Future, first day of filming with Marty McFly. Also started talking about 3D and movies and what he thought of it and special editions and all that stuff. So here it is, Bob Gale on Back to the Future Day from Season 1 on the Best of the Geek Speak Show.
Can you believe it's been 25 years already?
No, it's unbelievable to me, because if somebody came to me back in 1985 and said, "Hey, Bob, you know what you're going to be doing 25 years from now? You're going to be doing interviews about Back to the Future," I would have said, "Get out of town." It's unbelievable.
I remember just going there. There used to be a theater here down where the studio is now, and I went there when I was I think I was 12 at the time when it first came out. And movie tickets back then were like, I think $3-4. Yeah. So you can tell it's a long time ago. And one of the things I talked about this before on the air. One of the things I really like about Back to the Future is my dad was never really a sci-fi fan. I've been, to the name of the show, a geek. I've been a geek not only with this movie, with everything else since I was born, really. But my dad and we really bonded over this one because I actually took him to see it, and we started reminiscing and telling me stories about his childhood. So that's why Back to the Future means so much to me.
Well, you hit upon something really, really great with that, because to this day, at the video store, they don't know where to put it in the aisle. Is it comedy? Is it science fiction? Is it fantasy? Is it family? Is it adventure? And it's all those things. And your dad can enjoy it not being a sci-fi fan, because it's not really, the sci-fi elements of it take a back seat to the human story.
Yeah.
And it is. It connects with everybody, every generation, not just here, all over the world, because it captures that thing that all people have, where when they're about 8 or 9 years old, where they suddenly understand the concept that, my God, my parents were once children. Which is really a pretty hard thing to get your childhood head around. And then the next thing that you have to get your head around, once you understand how sex works, you're appalled to think that your parents actually did that. So the idea that you could witness your parents on their first date and see your young parents as sexual beings, there's something that is very captivating about that concept, and I think that's one of the reasons that the movie just took off then and is still resonant today.
Yeah, these 25 years later. So when you started writing the movie, the story actually, how did you avoid, because, it's a time travel story, obviously, so how did you avoid any comparisons that were going to be made to H.G. Wells' Time Machine? Because that's, the greatest time travel story ever.
Well, what we did with Back to the Future, and where we were able to break some of the sort of unwritten rules of time travel, which is don't change anything or you'll regret it, right, is that we created our own separate history for the McFly family that has nothing to do with the history that everybody else in the world knows. And Marty ends up being an inadvertent time traveler. He didn't plan on going back to 1955. It's an accident that he's there. It's an accident that he runs into his parents. All this stuff is an accident. All he's trying to do is get everything back the way it was. He's not trying to do anything other than to save his own existence and get home. So we're able to do some things with the space-time continuum by putting that frame of reference on it that you can't do in a lot of other time travel movies. And the other time travel movies, it was always about history, knowing, there was the final countdown in the 70s or the 80s where some guys go back and try to stop Pearl Harbor from happening. Well, they can't. They're going to fail. They're going to fail because how are we not going to have Pearl Harbor? So that was the big revelation that we have. If we invent our own history, we can mess around with it, and it'll be cool.
Yeah, was the time machine always going to be a DeLorean, or did you design something else?
No, in the original draft, it was a chamber. It was a time chamber. It was a cross between a shower stall and a refrigerator. And the original ending of the movie took place at a nuclear test site where they literally had to harness the radioactivity from an atomic test to power the time machine. And one day, Bob Zemeckis, we're in pre-production on all this, and Bob Zemeckis said, "You know what? It'd make a whole lot more sense if it was if it was mobile, if it was a car, and it would be even cooler if it was a DeLorean, and then we could use the gull-wing door to do this gag where they think it's a spaceship in the 1950s." As soon as he said, I knew he was absolutely right. So we changed it to a DeLorean, and then on the new Blu-ray set, or if you don't have a Blu-ray player, get the new standard definition set. There's a new special feature that shows the storyboards that we did for the old nuclear test site sequence with an animatic with music behind it, and you get a kind of an interesting look at what the ending to the movie would have been like if Universal had given us more money. And in one of those curious, fascinating paradoxes of blessings in disguise. The fact that we didn't have as much money as we would have liked to make the movie meant that we had to be more creative about how we used our money. And that sequence was a location sequence out in the desert. It was very expensive. We would have had to build all kinds of stuff. And when they said, you got to cut $1 million out of the budget, guys, that's what we cut. And so let's do something more controllable with a set that we already have. And we knew we had the back lot, so we invented the whole clock tower thing with the lightning to solve a budgetary problem.
Yeah, speaking of the lightning, who came up with the 1.21 gigawatts? Was that you or was that Bob Zemeckis?
The fact is, we were researching it. We called up an electrical engineer to find out how much energy is generated by a lightning bolt. And that's about accurate. And he pronounced, most people would pronounce it gigawatt, and the guy we spoke to called it a gigawatt, which is also correct. It comes from the Greek prefix for gigantic, gigos. But we never heard it either way, because this was before anybody was thinking in those kinds of terms. And so I misspelled it in the script as J-I-G-O, gigawatt, because that's the way I heard the guy say it. So, but that's about how much energy a bolt of lightning actually does produce.
Yeah, and that one typo actually is one of the most memorable lines in the movie. Now, what do you remember from Michael J. Fox's first day of shooting?
I'll tell you, it's interesting you asked me that, because somebody once asked me recently about what was my most memorable moment of shooting the first movie, and it was the first night when Michael came to the set. We were shooting out at Pointe Hills Mall out in the city industry outside of L.A., and he came to the set and started being Marty McFly, and everybody was so overjoyed and relieved to really get a sense that, oh, wow, this is going to work. He is Marty McFly. He is the perfect guy to play this part. So I just remember being so overjoyed at his comedic ability and what he was bringing to the part.
Yeah, nowadays, I don't know if you've seen it or not, there's a TV show called Fringe.
Oh, yeah,
talk about Eric Stoltz things. Yeah, you've seen that?
Back feature with Eric Stoltz, yeah. I got a huge laugh out of that.
And this is a story and a movie that it shouldn't be touched or remade, and we have a lot of those today, remakes or reimaginings, as they call it. This one, do you think it needs a reimagining, or should it be just left as it is?
Oh, listen, it's just fine the way it is, and that's why Bob and I have said repeatedly when anybody asks us, well, what about doing a remake? I mean, we've said you can't do a part 4 because we don't have Michael J. Fox. It's not in good enough physical shape to do one. So that's been off the table since he was diagnosed with Parkinson's. But then I said, well, these rumors come out, Zac Efron or Justin Bieber, and I don't know where these things get started.
No.
The answer is no. We don't want to see that. We're not going to be involved in that. We wouldn't authorize it. And for anybody that thinks that something like that is actually going on at the moment or anything, contractually, Universal has to come to us. They can't hire somebody else to do it without at least talking to us about it first. They're not coming to us. They haven't come to us. I will give my word to all the diehard fans out there who love these movies exactly the way they are. Bob Zemeckis and I are not going to be party to a Back to the Future remake or a Back to the Future Part 4.
Well, thank you on behalf of all the fans.
We've got the Telltale game, and that's in the works. That's a way of exploring alternate new adventures of Marty McFly and Doc Brown. The guys that are doing that are big fans of the movie. I'm very optimistic that we'll get a good Back to the Future video game, because the ones that they did back in the day were just pieces of crap.
Everybody here, not just myself, but everybody thanks you again for not touching this one. Matter of fact, you heard about George Lucas's special editions for his Star Wars movies.
Yeah.
We're glad that for this one, you didn't decide to retouch it, add scenes, change things.
No. Bob Zemeckis hates that. He says, you know what, the movies are they're representative of their time. Yeah, are there some special effects shots that we cringe at? Sure there are. Are there things that we could technically clean up and do better? Yeah, but we're not doing that. I mean, what we did do, there's some additional wire removal that we did on these, but that was a byproduct of the masters that we used were so much better. When you go see a movie, you're actually seeing a film movie, not a digital presentation. It's a fourth generation element that you're seeing. You got the camera negative, you got an inner positive that's made from the camera negative to make an inner negative, and then the release prints are made from the inner negative, all to protect too much handling of the original camera negative. And each time you go another generation, there's a little image degradation, a little bit more grain. So you can use that to your advantage in that, okay, it's a little bit softer each time, and there were wires that we could see off of the original negative that you can't see on a fourth generation. When we went back to an inner positive, you could see some of those wires in the hoverboard chase, and we took them out. So we're not taking out anything you couldn't see in the original theatrical version, but it just looks better and cleaner, and the color is better corrected, and it sounds way better. So, yeah.
But the main thing is the story remains the same.
Everything is the same. We didn't add in the scenes that we deleted. They're still in the deleted scenes folder. They were deleted because we didn't need them.
Yeah, and especially thanks for not converting this to 3D.
Oh, God.
Everything else is nowadays. You think that this 3D thing, you think that's just a fad, or is it the game changer that Cameron says it is?
I think that there's certainly room in the marketplace for it when it's done well, and when a filmmaker goes out and says, I'm making this in 3D and I'm going to use 3D as a tool the way you can use any other tool. Should all movies be in 3D? Absolutely not. Is it being misused today? Yeah. Is it being overused as a gimmick? Absolutely. When you see 3D the way Cameron does it or the way Zemeckis does it, it's really, really cool and really interesting. But when you go see Clash of the Titans in 3D, you want to vomit. No,
people did actually.
You see 2D, you might want to vomit too.
Yeah, so I'm talking to Bob Gale, writer, producer of the Back to the Future movies. And Bob, thanks a lot for coming on and kicking off our Back to the Future Day here on Geek Speak Radio.
You're very welcome.
So you heard it directly from Bob Gale. We will never see a reimagining or reboot of Back to the Future. But there was a news report not too long ago that Back to the Future, the musical, is coming, and Bob Gale and Robert Zemeckis have a little bit of involvement in that. So another reason to have Bob Gale on, there you go. We'll talk to him about the musical, if it's really happening or not. Let's finish up with Nicholas Meyer, not from a couple weeks ago when we celebrated the 30-year anniversary of Star Trek II, but this is also from season 1, when the first time he came on to talk about everything, Star Trek, all the movies that he's done. He talked about the book, The View from the Bridge. It had just come out on paperback, so he was talking about that. Towards the end of the interview, we started talking about movies, Star Trek, the reboot, JJ's reboot, and also started talking about 3D movies and all of that. And this is what Nicholas Meyer had to say about that from season 1. Here you go. So
before I let you go, a couple of more questions. J.J. Abrams, you know him well. He rebooted the franchise last year.
Mm-hmm.
What did you think of his version?
Well, there were some parts that I absolutely loved. And then there were other parts I didn't quite understand, but then I'm just too dumb.
And I've also read some of the interviews, and we happen to agree on some of today's movies, not Star Trek movies, but just movies in general. Do you think this 3D is the game changer that James Cameron claims it is, or is it just a passing fad?
I think the latter. I think that, well, here's a real complicated answer, okay?
Mm-hmm.
I think that all great artistic media, literature, music, painting, all succeed because of what they leave out. Paintings don't move. Music has no intellectual content. I'm speaking of music without singing. I'm talking about an orchestra or a piano.
Right.
It is purely sound. Words are just symbols on a page. In each case, it is the reader, the audience, the viewer, the auditor, whatever you want to call it, who lends his imagination. The painting moves when it meets your eye. The music becomes profound when it reaches your heart or your ear. Up until then, it's just catgut and tubing. Words, as I say, are just, coded symbols that you've got to decipher. Movies are a little bit different from artistic, the sort of the old artistic media, and that is that they have the capacity to do everything for you. And that's not always a very helpful thing for art. It tends to put people to sleep. And I could make the argument that movies, when they were silent, were actually leaving something out. When they were black and white, they're leaving something out. And what they left out was what draws you in or drew you in. When you look at Chaplin or Buster Keaton or Abel Gance, you are so far more into the movie than you are when they keep filling in the blanks for you. Here's the color, here's the sound, and now here's the 3D or the CGI. And the more stuff they do for you, the less you have to do. And the less you have to do, the less involved and engaged you are in the finished film. And my guess is that once the novelty of 3D plays itself out, it is unlikely to become a staple of the whole movie-going experience. I could be wrong. That is a very long-winded answer.
Very good answer, and I hope you are right, because all of us here on the show staff here, and a lot of emails and calls that we get, they don't like the 3D thing. They just want it to stop already.
I was going to say, they're just trying to find a way to lift people out of their seats at home and get them into theaters, and I don't blame them for that, because I think it's more fun to go to a movie and have popcorn and sit with a bunch of people that you don't know and share an experience that is at once a group civilized experience and also a highly personal one at the same time, rather than stay home and have the phone ring and the kids cry and whatever. And, art is a very fragile experience, and you don't want it to be interrupted, which is why I like that theatrical experience, which is why I wish people, didn't have TVs in their home or computers to watch things on or their telephones to look at Lawrence of Arabia. Sounds like a bad idea to me.
It's interesting to me how the older generation of filmmakers and writers don't really care about the technology. They care more about the characters and the story, and how the younger generation, with very few exceptions, care more about the technology, the 3D and all that. They think that's going to make up for weak storylines or characters. Just find that, to quote a famous Vulcan, fascinating. So that's the best of the Geek Speak Show for the 4th of July. I hope you're enjoying your 4th of July, your barbecue, your fireworks, whatever you're doing. Hope you enjoyed, or will enjoy if you haven't seen it yet, The Amazing Spider-Man. Would like to know what you guys thought of it, whether you saw it in 3D or 2D or whatever. Let me know. Go to our Facebook page, go to our reviews, put yours in there, or just say, hey, I liked it or didn't like it because of this, this, and that. We'll see you all next Saturday, July 7th at Lee's Comics in Mountain View for episode 2 of the Geek Speak video show. You heard Lee earlier on this show. And don't forget, MightyVille.com is live as of today. MightyVille.com should be your new destination for everything comic books, interviews, videos, and giveaways. The Amazing Spider-Man stuff, the Walking Dead stuff, it's all on there. Go to MightyVille.com. Enter to win some cool Amazing Spider-Man or Walking Dead stuff for you. Now, next week, most of you will be in San Diego because there's a little thing going on called San Diego Comic-Con. Comic-Con! Yes, it's happening. It's finally, can you believe it's already Comic-Con time? Years going by fast. So we're going to have a huge Comic-Con show here, kind of like what we did earlier this year for WonderCon. I'm going to talk to some of the exhibitors. Of course, David Glanzer is going to be on here. Can't do a WonderCon or Comic-Con or Ape show without having David Glanzer on, who's the marketing and PR director for Comic-Con International. He'll be here. We'll also have a lot of the guests, some of the panelists. We may hear from video games, from cosplayers. Hell, even Morgan Spurlock's going to be on here. You're going to hear him talk about Comic-Con episode 4 of Fans Hope. It's coming out on DVD. Special stuff coming with that one. We'll talk to Morgan about that. And what else do you want? Well, that's there too. Ariel's going to be on the floor, not literally, but on the exhibit floor at Comic-Con. She'll call in and give us a live report, not bird, but a co-host's view of what's going on the exhibit floor. She may even sneak peek at some of the exclusives that won't be open till a couple days from there. She might give you an exclusive right here on the show. So be here for that. That's happening next week. I'm tired already. Hasn't even started yet. So thanks again for listening to the best of and helping us be a soundtrack to your 4th of July. I hope you had fun. We will see you next week for Comic-Con on the Geek Speak Show.
The Geek Speak Show will be back next week with a brand new episode. In the meantime, follow them on Twitter at Geek Speak Show 1. That's the number 1. Become a fan on Facebook. Subscribe on iTunes. Watch special event coverage and the Geek Speak video show on YouTube/Geek Speak Videos. And listen to past shows in the archive section on thegeekspeakshow.com. A big thank you to the Geek Speak Show's content providers, GeekTyrant.com, Collider.com, RamaScreen.com, and MightyVille.com. The Geek Speak Show.